Hello and welcome to another episode of Face to Face. My name is Godfred Akoto-Boafo. My guest today has metamorphosed from a music superstar to an administrator, and now he says he wants to become a politician. Bice Osei Kuffuor, aka Obo, is our guest on Face to Face. President Obo.
Bro.
Welcome to Face to Face.
Sharp.
And let me express our condolences. I know it's been a difficult start to the year for you and the passing of your father. And it happened very publicly in a way that you perhaps did not want it to happen.
Very true.
How have you gotten over those periods?
First and foremost, let me quickly say thank you to yourself and thank you, Ghana. The past 2 months has been an extremely difficult time in my life. I mean, just like you rightly said, having to lose your dad and with all the public display, you know, it's been tough. But I think I've just been encouraged by some very good people, you know, and their good words. I mean, people like Samiata and other people, you know, constantly calling to check on me. Made me see that yes, in the heat of all of this, there are still some people who really do care about you, who know you, who know your principles, and know that many of the things that are being said about you are sheer lies and fabrications, you know, by some people for whatever reason or the other. You know, they are pushing these agendas, but thankfully I'm good. I feel strong. My father wanted me to be an MP more than anything, so if I've lost him, I wouldn't lose what he also wanted, which was a vision that he shared with me. And so pull myself together, give him a befitting send-off, and continue with the agenda. I'm sure next year on 7th January, when we are being inaugurated and sworn into office, I'm sure my father will be smiling wherever he finds himself.
A very confident sounding man you are. But on that particular incident, and forgive me for dwelling there a bit, for somebody who's been in the public eye for almost 2 decades, you sounded very affected by the public uproar. Yeah. Your perceived carelessness, as it was put out then. Yeah. What was the story?
Sometimes I just don't want to go into it, but what quickly, it is what it is, why I was affected was the series of lies, you know. That was what made me affected the most, because it's as if the lies that were being perpetrated, 1 minute, Obo is at the morgue with macho men. Total lie, and it's being carried by mainstream media, Ghana Web and other web portals. Obo's father was in quarantine, and Obo went to bribe the people to get his father out. Total lie. When Obo got to the hospital, he didn't disclose his father had traveled. Total lie. We had been in that same hospital a day before. When we had come, they took my father's details, we tested him for COVID. So how do we come to the same hospital and you say that we didn't declare my father's travel history? You know, so it's the lies that made me very worried. But I'm happy we've just gone beyond it. You know, the family have come to a position where we all think no matter the court suits, no matter the apologies that people come and render, it will not bring my father back.
Have they rendered apologies?
We've had several apologies. It will not bring my father back. So there's no need to drag this as a tug of war, you know. We just have to take things calm, give the old man the proper send-off that he deserves, and just continue with life.
Now we can go to the beginning. Two decades ago, young university man, you decide to venture into hardcore music.
Sure.
And some way, somehow, in your own way, you become a breakout star. What were those early days like for you? How did you weigh that? Because I realized you are at the University of Ghana, but you were also trying to become a mainstream music star. Did you have doubts? Should I just focus on being a student, or should I just push this music scene at that point?
Music had always been a part of us, you know, growing up from Bokrom Estate in Kumasi. When I was in Infanspem, I was singing with Kokoveli, Abega, you know, and other guys. But we hadn't considered taking it as a career path, you know. So after Infanspem, my friends, you know, in Latabi Okoshi, the area guys kept saying, Charlie, I mean, I could do, then Reggie was big. Then quite later on, Achame came up with a song, you know, Bro Bahima. You know, so then my colleagues in Latabi said, Obo, you can do this, you know. So they kind of threw like a challenge to me. So we walked to the studio in Kobieshen. There's a studio at Mamprobi. We went to do our demo, and it was nice. It could match up with the songs that we were already hearing on radio.
Okay.
You know, so then my cousin, Amano, and a few other guys said, Charlie, we will help you to do it, you know. And then my mom was my first investor. My mom and Amano, you know, they sent some money. We recorded my first demo, scouted around a bit. Luckily, OG of famous people connected me to Soul Records. Okay. Soul Records, JB Asafu, and hey, 2000, my first CD was almost ready, you know. So it's the encouragement from friends that made me decide to take music as a career path, because you know, I had finished in Infanspem. My time, you had to wait home for 2 years before you go to the uni. So that 2 years, I studied computer and I did music, you know.
quite an interesting background. And what was the feeling like? What was the first song of yours that got on radio?
First song that I heard,
heard?
First song that I heard on radio, I heard it on, it was the 23rd of March.
Well, you even remember the day?
Yeah, I do. It was the 23rd of March, 2000.
Which song was that?
It was, oh yeah, Lord, kwai mecha umu shim shim. Oh yeah, bedia mewo wu pim pim.
That was the
oh yeah, fufu mecha wu tim tim. I want the wako tenyesa ube him. Wobo. That day was a special feeling, you know. I had my headphones on. It was Greg Mingle on air. He just played the song. I was like, oh my God. And I didn't end up listening to the song. I ended up calling everybody to tune into GAR at that time. So by the time I finished my calls, the song had finished playing.
Interesting. And who would you say were your influences? Because your voice, your beat, your lyrical style was a bit different from what was prevalent at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think my major influence as far as music was concerned was Reggie Rockstone. And I kept telling him all the time that I had music in me, but I never felt I could. I mean, we just were doing it, you know, for the fun of it, the fame, and, you know, let people feel you. But once I saw Reggie Rockstone's Maka cassette and I bought it, I could always picture myself behind the CD, the cassette, you know, and that was a major inspiration to me. And when I wanted to release, I wanted to be different. I didn't, because before I came out, Obrafo had come out, Achame had come out, Tic Tac had been out, so there have been some musicians, and everybody was coming with something different. You know, so I also wanted to find something very, very different. And so that's how come the whole concept of Obuo, you know, trying to retell the Asebua Memphis story, the giant, strong guy, you know, I just wanted to be different, you know, and it worked.
But it also created an image of you, a lasting image of you in a lot of people. Athletic young man, people remember the flips.
I know. He's a they fear someone, you know, and I think it has become a part of me that I've been living, you know.
Okay, and then you did. Let's talk a bit about the one song. This was that Tintin, right?
Yeah, this was that Tintin.
That Tintin opened the pathways for you. But the song that gave you mainstream prominence perhaps was Koniba. What was that about? How did you come about with that one?
Okay, so I say this anytime I get the opportunity. Even on the Koniba album, I didn't think Koniba was going to be the song.
What song did you think was going to hit?
Miubio.
Okay.
Miubio was the ish for me. I was emotionally attached to that song. I had written Miubio with so much passion because, you know, I had had an accident and I wrote the song around the accident. And around that time, the kind of music that was still in vogue was that kind of, those creative pieces. Now, I recorded Koniba for some fans of mine who were ladies, who kept saying, I don't do danceable songs. All the songs I do, Obo's music, you have to think before you listen to them. You always have to take your time, and we don't have an Obo song that we can just jam to. So I first did Shine Your Eye. Baby, you fine, you.
Yeah.
For the ladies. Then my producer and my team then, which I had Veros Nete as the marketing guy, he felt Shine Your Eye was my first attempt at a girlish song. So I should do a second one because he thinks people will like that more than the other board that people know. So we said, okay, let's just try Maurice Babyface, you know. So we were programming the beat, and I was just trying to think of something that girls will like, you know. Then the concept of Koniba dropped in my head. I didn't even remember the actual lyrics. So I placed a phone call to Aketeche. We were in the same record label, Soul Records. I called Kobe Culture, that's one of the Aketeche guys. I said, Kobe, you go school no na enyumbi o ha yeto ekrase nyumbi ane yeto na men kind of full lyrics no yi aboa Koniba na 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 na. But then he said, oh, obenyini na why kese happen. Then I remember the song because, you know, the whole Koniba was inspired by a childhood rhyme that we used to say. You know, Koniba, Obenyini, Ayakesi, you know. So then we wrote the lyrics, added a bit to the rhythm, the flow, the melody, and then we composed Koniba. And then we decided that it should be a call and a response. There must be a feminine voice in the song so that the girls can also jam to the song. So then it became a male call, a female response, a male call, a female response. And that's how come we came up with the song.
Were you amazed at how that song blew up and took you along with it? Right
from the studio, Maurice Babyface told me that, Obo, this is your biggest song. I was like, why? He said, I'm a sound engineer. I produce music. This is one of my best productions. The sound quality, the rhythm, the bass line. Obo, this is the biggest song. When I was doing my promo CD, I put Koniba the last because I put Miubio, I put Shine Your Eye, then I put Koniba, then Ayameya. And then normally you take the song you want DJs to play. So I take Miubio to everybody. But they were not playing Miubio. Everybody was playing Koniba. Before I realized, I didn't even do a music video for Koniba the year we released it because I was already planning to do a music video for Miubio. I had planned it, scripted it, we were working on it. So we had the Miubio video, but still Koniba was stopping the charts. We had Shine Your Eye video, still Koniba. So eventually we had to now do a music video for Koniba the year after. You know, so Koniba doesn't have a popular music video, even though we have a music video for it, it's not popular. A lot of people didn't get a chance to even see the music video for Koniba.
Now, before we get into other spaces, I need you to explain this for me. What motivated your transition? You were doing really well, you know, with songs like that. And then you entered into this high life phase as well, which is a bit different at the time. Why were you experimenting? Why did you decide to change what was proving to be a successful trend for you?
Yeah, I think this is a very important question. I've had several interviews, nobody has asked this question. So this is what happened. After Koniba, the song was too big. I mean, I was nominated for a Kora Award with Koniba. I performed in Sierra Leone, I performed in Liberia, I performed in Denmark, Australia, and all the people were singing Koniba. They knew how to sing the song. It got to a point that I was scared of my own creation. Can I do a song bigger than this song? Can I contest myself? Can I compete with my own album? And the little spirit in me was like, do something entirely different. Don't go create a new song. Let Koniba still receive its glory. Let it enjoy the glory that is enjoying. Why don't you rekindle high life music? This was a time when Koniba was high life, but there was a bit of strife between older musicians and younger musicians, because it was as if the younger crop have just taken the older musicians out of business. So I had meetings with Ampadu, I had meetings with Papa Yankson, talking to them, just seeing where I would get a feel. And then I met with A.B. Crensel.
Okay.
And then I was like, wow, I think I should do an album with A.B. Crensel, where we do some of his songs, we redo them, and some of my songs, we redo them. We bring high life and hip life together. It's a new story. It's something new. It's not like it's a new Obo song, which is going to be compared to Koniba, but it will be something different that will be compared based on its own standards. So then we created Ajwaye, Juliana, Our Father, and the new Best of the Lives, which became a new lifeline for high life musicians.
Okay.
So now a lot more younger musicians were doing collaborations with older musicians. A.B. Crensel was back, active, receiving performances, fees. And then several other younger musicians did collaborations with older musicians, and high life was reawakened. So then the talk about hip life taking over high life and making high life musicians lose their livelihood, that talk came down, because now we found a merger. We found a point that these two could be synced and worked together.
I find it interesting because it sounds like that was a decision between you pursuing an artistic value as compared to a commercial decision at that time. And it's interesting you're already thinking about things like that at that point.
Yeah. I think that's the I'm that kind of person. I'm always thinking not just of the artistic, but also the commercial, and not just also the commercial, but what influence it has on society as a whole.
Which one matters to you?
I think
the art or the commerce?
No, I think society is most, because when I was doing if it was just the art, I probably would not have done Koniba.
Okay.
Because I was concerned, my fans, society, they want an Obo dance music, so do it for them. When I did my road safety song, Tia Papa Driver, it was the passion to see change. Because I was scared. I had an accident where, due to a driver's carelessness. So I realized that no matter how careful I may be, if the message of road safety does not get to every other driver, you cannot be careful enough. So then the passion was to get the message out through music. We did a song, good music, but it wasn't a commercial music. We didn't put it on any CD for sale at that time. We felt this must be promoted by everybody because it's not commercial. If we put it on a CD, they will say, "Oh, boy is selling it, so it's a commercial." They will even charge you for it to be played. So we didn't put it on any CD. We gave this CDs around, and still, it was not being played. So we said, "Oh, wow. Okay, then we should do a music video to it." We went to talk to the Road Safety Commission. They had other commitments, but we said, we need to do this. So it got to a point that I think we put a budget together. The Road Safety Commission took the smallest item in the budget. And we said, no, it doesn't matter. I mean, this is life.
Yeah.
So whatever money I had made from Koniba and other songs, let me invest some into this road safety campaign. We spent close to about 80,000 at that time in 2005-06 on that project. We did the music video. We had some help from a few friends when they saw it. I mean, I was friends with Kofi Amoabeng, so he chipped in. They supported us with 8,000 Ghana cedis. Then a few other friends came in to help. And that became a huge project. It became, a lot of people now know Obuo even more for the road safety song than even Koniba.
Okay, interesting.
Which was I did that out of helping society, out of pushing a change agenda, you know. So I think it has always been somewhere in me, just that because I was an artist, I didn't have full control of whatever I wanted to do. I had to, there was a team, there was a manager, there was a producer who also directed the beginning part of me. But once I became a master of my own art, the more of the innate drive towards social change took the best of me.
Okay, we're talking to former MUSIGA president, hip life musician, and now politician Bice Osei Kuffuor, but everybody calls him President Obuo. So you made the transition then into administration. At the peak of your powers, popular,
that's true,
gigs, why give it up and venture into wanting to run an association that many have long considered not really viable?
The MUSIGA presidency decision was a tough one, but very, very self and industry development motivated. When I had Koniba, I became friends with some very big African musicians, Eric Wainaina, Salif Keita, Yusundu, and so they were, when I'm having a conversation with Eric, for instance, he talks more on royalties. So then I didn't know much about royalties, you know, so I started reading more about copyright, royalties. So I came to have a meeting with the then COSGA, and I asked them about my royalties. And they said they'll prepare a check for me. You know, so after about a month of series of meetings, they prepared me a check. It was 1.5 million, 150 Ghana. And I was like, Koniba was huge. So I had a conversation again with Eric in Kenya. And he said, no, he knows Koniba. It's played even in Kenya. That song, you shouldn't get less than $1 million. I'm telling you, my brother. I was like, so where's that $1 million? Okay. So then I started paying very, very close attention to the Ghana music industry. How do we get these royalties corrected? How do we get the right regulations that will propel the music industry to growth? So then it gradually was moving me. So then my passion to even create new songs was dwindling. I was more interested in making sure that when I get another Koniba, I will get $1 million, rather than just creating more songs and not get the full value of the songs. So I started talking to Achame Kwame. So in 2009, we did a song, The Game. And I think that was a major deciding factor for the transition from an active musician into somebody who is going into administration. In the game, we poured out all the frustrations that we were facing as musicians. And in the song, I said, I am going to stop singing, because we've realized that when we sing, we don't get the needed value from the music. And the industry has to be fixed. So between myself and some of my close friends in the music industry, they said they would support me to go into MUSIGA, try and wrestle the leadership of MUSIGA, because we realized that to change anything, you needed to tack it from the leadership point. It's the most important and the most quickest way of fixing some fault in an industry. And so I went into MUSIGA, lobbied the team, started helping the team. And then, even though I didn't contest in 2008, when the 2009 team was put together, they co-opted me as a youth organizer. So I served under Mrs. Diana Hobson for a full term. And then with MUSIGA, when you are able to serve a full term, you qualify to contest for the presidency.
Oh, okay.
So after serving a full term in 2011, I put myself up to contest. But when I was going into MUSIGA, I was going with the mind that I was going to contest for presidency the next term. So a lot of the people who knew, when I was in MUSIGA, it was my whole time at MUSIGA was working towards my possibility of becoming a president of the union in 2011. Come the election in 2011, I went against giants like Jedubule Ambule, who had been a MUSIGA past president in the 70s, Nana Kuffuor, and Woody Roy of blessed memory. And I think the delegated musicians at MUSIGA voted me in. I think I won with 66 votes. Nana Kuffuor had 54, and then the rest had 20 and 1, I think. And so that began the journey.
Okay. And overall, because your story is quite well known in MUSIGA, I don't want to dwell too much. Some would say it's been 8 very controversial years.
Yeah, extremely.
As president of MUSIGA. Sitting here now, do you think you made significant impact that other musicians will attest to? Not you,
sure,
because obviously you will say you did well.
Sure.
But do you have contemporaries who will sit there and say, Obo's 8 years really changed what we do?
Okay. I think that there are more people who will say it changed than those who will say it didn't. But it's true. I mean, with leadership, you would always make decisions that will be for some people and that will be against some people. So I perfectly understand it when I get criticisms, and mostly I look at where the criticisms are coming from. So unlike, I don't know how other people do their things, but when I'm going into any kind of leadership, I take my time to plan and also make it open what I'm in here for. So when we decided to go into MUSIGA, we came up with Ejumapa. Ejumapa was acronym for all the things we wanted to do. We realized that MUSIGA had, one of its major problems was it had a poor administration setup. Because it was just musicians. Not every musician is gifted with administration. So when it's just musicians, one leader will go to a certain limit, and then he's voted out, and then the other leader has to start off entirely. There's no institutional memory. So I am going into MUSIGA, and I will change this so that we can have a proper administrative structure for the organization, an administrative structure that is accountable. So that was one. So the first A stood for that. MUSIGA in itself could play a role in creating jobs for musicians, because all the event organizers, when they are organizing events, they are just going for the top artists. So it happens that only the top artists get gigs. There are so many other musicians in Tamale, in Koforidua, who would love to be once in a while, just be on a bigger platform. who is creating something to give these other musicians hope. So when I become MUSIGA president, we will create something that will create jobs for all the other musicians who are members of MUSIGA.
And were you able to do this?
Yes, all these things I'm saying were done. So when I became MUSIGA president, the first year, we created the office of the administrator. So now, till date, MUSIGA has an administrator. It didn't exist.
Okay.
So we employ a professional who is an administrator who oversees the running of MUSIGA. We employed an accountant. MUSIGA didn't have an accountant.
Okay.
So we employed an accountant to run the actual finances, to make it transparent, so that members can walk into the accounts office, ask, oh, we want to inspect our audited report, or so that build some level of confidence amongst members. That was done. We created Ghana Music Week to provide jobs for all the music. So Ghana Music Week, there was a day that we brought musicians from all around Ghana to display their music, and the union paid them. That was one of the things we promised. We promised to unite musicians. So because we had gospel musicians were gospel musicians, highlight musicians were highlight musicians, hip life musicians they were all limited to themselves. But we tried to bring musicians together for different things, created different director of high life so that we would try and bring musicians together. It was tough doing it. Uniting musicians was tough. Then we had M for Music Business Education. Till date, MUSIGA partnered with NAFTI and the School of Performing Arts, and we have a certificate program which has metamorphosed into a degree program at NAFTI, which was an initiative of MUSIGA. Okay. It's called MUSIGA Academy. It's with NAFTI. It was part of the things, because I felt we needed education on the music industry. Even people who want to learn music, how do they pursue it, how do they learn it? It was one of the things we dreamed that we were going to do, which we've been able to do. Okay. Then we promised Aging Musicians Welfare Fund, because I had worked with A.B. Crensel. I had seen how the older musicians lived, the challenges they face. So we said, okay, a country that does not honor its heroes is not worth dying for. So can we, as MUSIGA, create a fund that can take care of older musicians? And we were able to do it. When I was leaving MUSIGA, we had not less than 200 and something plus thousand in the MUSIGA AMWEF fund.
Interesting.
Which we did.
Okay.
And so many of the people who criticize didn't know the plan that Obo came into office with. So a lot of people say, oh, no, MUSIGA could have organized their own, they could have taken Ghana Music Awards from Charterhouse and organized their own awards. MUSIGA should have had a TV station by now. Those were not the things I came into MUSIGA with my team.
Those were not your objectives.
They were not my objectives. So yes, they are beautiful, but they were not the things I promised the delegates of MUSIGA. So if I spent my time trying to do that at the expense of what they listened to and gave me the mandate to run, I'll be not a wise guy.
And give me a quick question, give me a quick answer on this so that we can discuss Asante Akyem South and the issues therein. There are those who say Obo was a bit of an autocrat.
No, it's not true.
Obo doesn't listen to people.
It's the same thing. So I have the likes of Apietus, because a lot of people come with 1,010,000 ideas. They are all brilliant ideas, but there have been ideas that we have all come up with earlier, thought about how we execute those ideas, what problems those ideas, done SWOT analysis on these particular ideas which we are implementing. And so when people come with different ideas which we haven't done SWOT analysis on, we haven't seen whether they will work or not work, and it's not a try and error.
Okay.
So I won't listen to trying those new things. So you say I don't listen. Right. But it's not that I don't listen.
All right, question answered. When did you fall in love with the MPP to warrant you thinking you can become a member of parliament on their ticket? When did this one be? Because you're musician administrator. Out of the blue, you are an MPP man.
Okay, so I've always been MPP. just that I've not been an active MPP activist.
Okay.
Because one, I was in MUSIGA. Among the things you can't do as MUSIGA president is to be in active politics. So my allegiance to the MPP was known by the MPP. I mean, the MPP knows where I am.
Okay.
They do. Else they wouldn't have passed me to contest at Verton. They know what I've done for the party, both at the constituency level, both at the national level. They know.
What is the attraction for you when it comes to the MPP? What attracted you?
It's two things. With politics, some are ideologies that you are born into. I mean, my father was an assemblyman at some point. He was government appointee of the MPP. So my father was MPP. I grew up in the MPP. I mean, I was born in Grasu Kumase, Asante region. I grew up, and we know where the MPP takes its roots from. So there's one bit of that. And then there's also the ideology bit. I believe in the free market, and it's an ideology the MPP believes in. And I think I tend to side more with the beliefs and ideologies of the MPP than any other political party. And so being in the MPP will be more easier for me because I wouldn't have to adopt any new things. It's something that I personally believe in. And that's the same ideology they also believe in. So life will be easier for me to live in the MPP than in any other political party.
Timing is important in these things. So one might say, why now?
Why not now? I've finished a successful MUSIGA presidency. I have put my music career on hold for a while. So the only things left for me now is either I decide to start some work, do more of my charity work, entering into parliament, being an MP is changing lives. It's the same kind of work that I'm doing. If I can do my work better in parliament and have a much bigger impact, why wait? And I write proposals with my foundation, Christianado Foundation, and people think, oh boy, when you're giving support to them sometimes, this is the job of an MP. This is something that a member of parliament must be looking into, trying to find work, employment for my constituents. They tell you this is something a member of parliament should be doing. Okay, the member of parliament is not doing it. I can do it. And people are looking up to me. They believe in me. There are people in my constituency that I think when they all are employed, livelihoods will become better in my constituency. Why not put myself up for it? I mean, it was only insult that people will insult you when you are running. I've been insulted enough at MUSIGA already. So what insult is new will be new to me. I mean, once I decide to go into politics, all I know is what will make my wife or anybody say don't go is they will insult you. Charlie, they've insulted me more than enough already. So I've already been prepared for this.
Okay.
And if I do win, I know I would serve my people more than with my little NGO that even when you are raising funds, people are doubting whether the funds are being used for the appropriate things. At least with the MP, you are part of government. You are helping government achieve its agenda. It's more easier to draw and pull more resources to help your people even the more. That's why I decided to go on it.
But why Asante Akyem South? Now, you've told me, for instance, that your father comes from there.
Yeah.
As a chief.
Yeah.
There. Your mother doesn't come from there.
My mom also comes from Asante Akyem South, just that she's 50-50. So she has Kwewu Abetifi and Grasu Asante Akyem.
Traditionally, then you belong to Kwewu Abetifi. So why not Kwewu Abetifi? Traditionally, you are a Kwewu Abetifi man.
No,
you are
so
an Akan man.
Traditionally, we inherit on the maternal lines as Akyans or as Asantes. But luckily, politically, they don't look at it from traditionally. Politically, they say where you have stayed. And I went to school in Jaso. I went to Jaso. Yeah, that's where I lived.
You're not one of those people who just started going to their hometown?
No. I lived in Jaso. I went to primary up to class 3 in Jaso before they moved us to Kumasi. You know, so, and I'm not one of the people who was never coming home.
Even during your MUSIGA days, you've always
all
been
the
there.
time. I've always, almost every year or 2 years, I did a concert in Jaso.
Oh.
I mean, I helped some musicians in Jaso, Triple O, Opam, Osare, a couple of musicians in Jaso that we helped bring them up, you know. So I've not been away from Jaso. And I've always been a Jaso man. Right. Only that I cannot run away from the fact that I also have Kwewu in my lineage.
Okay. We are speaking to former MUSIGA president and now parliamentary hopeful for the MPP.
Incoming.
Well, for my side, you are hopeful. Bice Osei Kuffuor, you can call him President Obo. Now, Obo, the constituency has a 2-term MP. And for political watchers, and now we are talking hardcore politics, for political watchers, this is somebody who beat Gifty Ohini Kunedu at the peak of her powers. There is another candidate who has contested him twice, who is coming back.
Yeah.
There are 2 other persons who are contesting, so 5 in all, including yourself. Why should people give you a chance against somebody as experienced as Asante Akyem?
Okay, so just like you said, Asante Akyem beat Gifty Ohini Kunedu. In the contest that he beat Gifty Ohini Kunedu, there was 4 candidates that contested. But because he stood out, he beat Gifty Ohini Kunedu. The same way this current contest is 5 people contested. And I think my campaign is standing out.
But his popularity is not waning, Obo.
Oh, as for popularity,
he's a very popular candidate.
As for popularity there, Anka. Because my popularity in the constituency keeps soaring up, you know. Okay. And I feel the delegates have tested Asante Akyem. I mean, it's what you don't know that you worry about. Asante Akyem, they've tried him. They voted for him to become chairman. So it's not just an MP that he has been.
To be
they voted for him to become constituency chairman. And they voted for him again to become member of parliament. He's done a full, successful term. And they voted again for him to become another member of parliament. So at least they have tested him. They've seen what he can do. Obo has put himself up. This is Obo, is not somebody we don't know.
What are the endearing qualities that you bring that gives you an advantage?
I mean, hardworking guy who, in politics, these are things that matter, who is very well networked. I mean, whether in opposition or in power, super networked. I sit on dinner tables with presidents. I do functions that presidents honor my invitation. When my mom passed in Jaso in 2016, both presidents honored my invitation. This is the quality of person we are talking about. Plays ball internationally. He serves on international committees. Currently in Ghana, I'm serving on several boards. So this is somebody that when we give him the chance, he can bring something. In politics, your connections is 50%.
Oh.
Because majority of the things you are bringing as an MP, you are going to lobby for them. You are virtually going to beg for people to bring things to your constituency. If Obo was able to take MUSIGA, this is a testimony that a delegate will share, was able to take MUSIGA from a point where MUSIGA was in debt. And when he was leaving MUSIGA, he left more than 2 billion in MUSIGA's account. He's somebody we should try. if Obo, what he did for his own self, a young guy from Jasuban Kamai, could rise, finish university, win national honors, Order of the Voter, Grand Medal, and he still comes back home. If we give him that responsibility to go and bring development or go and scout for help for our constituency, he can. We have tried Kwaku Asante Boateng for 8 years.
But your constituency is not one of the constituency people would say is in need, is it? Is it a needy constituency?
It's who is not needy in this country?
No, I mean there are deprived there are levels of deprivation in this.
In my constituency, we have terrible roads, extremely terrible roads. We have one of the highest youth unemployment.
It's not Kwaku Asante Boateng's job. He's a legislator.
Yeah, but if you are a legislator and amongst your duties you can help uplift the community, why not? If there are several MPs who are legislating, and in addition to legislating, they are helping the community in several developmental works. Why do they give the MPs common fund? The MP gets a common fund so that he can also use his fund to assist developmental works. And so if Kwaku Asante Boateng has done what he can do, and the delegates and of course the constituency think this our royal or this our younger son, our son, can also try. Just like we tried Kwaku Kranchi for 8 years, and we also tried Gifty Ohene Kunedu for 8 years. Luckily, we have tried Kwaku Asante Boateng for 8 years. Let's also try Obo, and let's see. I mean, there's no crime in this. It's a very easy decision for the people to make.
Let me ask you one final question. Do you fear the fact that people might not take you seriously or will not take you seriously as a politician? This is Ghana. People will say, oh, this guy's just a musician. What does he know?
I mean, this is a question I answered some delegates, because just like you asked, some delegate has asked me before. And I said, who are our politicians? When you go to Parliament now, who are there? There's a hairdresser there. There's a business woman there. There's a market woman there. There are people who are doctors there. What stops a musician from being there? Is music not part of the things we do as a country? If not for anything, music plays a major role in most of our lives. Don't we have entertainment? So there's nothing wrong with having. At Parliament we discuss tourism, we discuss creative arts, we discuss culture, we discuss several things that music is very, very keyed in. It's actually a plus for Parliament to have a musician.
Okay, all right then. Thank you very much, Bice Osei Kuffuor, aka Obo, parliamentary hopeful. He says he's going to win for the Asante Akyem South constituency. Hopefully when the MPP announce the date for their primaries, we'll be able to keep an eye on. We wish you well.
Thank you.
And thank you for passing through. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Face to Face. My name is Godfred Akoso Boafo. Have a good day.